Alright, so I went through all this crap. We'll see if I got the see if I got this right. So if you're watching the last episode, let me pull this up. Hopefully this is getting out there actually. Let me make sure. Check. I think that's, let me test with some headphones real quick. Sorry. I got a buzz from something. I'll figure out what that is. Oh, interesting. That's the ISO room mic. I don't know why that would be, but I'm gonna turn it down for now. So that's not really gonna bother anything. But take these headphones off. So anyway, last episode, right? Want to do a So it's a recording for a commercial. The people paying for it are in Los Angeles. There'll be a guy here in our ISO booth doing the voice acting, and here's me in the control room. Yeah, so here's what really needs to happen for that. The remote, the guys in LA need to hear the control room mic. That's me talking in here. The ISO booth mic, that's the actual actor, the talent, and the backing track, in case they're talking on top of music or there's cues or something like that. Maybe the main mix, that kind of doesn't matter. For me in the control room, I need to hear the ISO booth, the actor. I need to hear the backing track as well, and I need to hear the Skype output. Now, the actor himself, he needs to hear me. He probably needs to hear himself. That's I can turn that on or off pretty easy. Usually they'll want to hear something of themselves in their phones. He's also going to want to hear the backing track, and he's also going to want to hear the Skype output. As far as I can tell, he's going to want to hear every audio source we have, including himself. He may need a slightly different mix than everybody else, but that's kind of how it is. So, we're going to get to the problem of, that how hard it is to route audio between apps. And I know the guys on your Mac say that it's super easy and you can totally do it, but you really can't. Not quite. You can do it with the help of some aftermarket stuff, but I think you might lose your low latency drivers. And I know some of you Mac guys think that you don't need drivers on Mac, but for the better stuff, you kind of do. Anyway, so we're going to deal. It's going to be the same problem either way. Or it's going to be the same solution either way. Which sucks because I don't want to solve it this way, but that's how we're going to do it. So what the remote clients can be using Skype. And so I've set up something in Reaper here. You can see here's a bunch of tracks. So I've got the ISO mic in, the backing track, the control room mic, the Skype output from Skype, what they're saying to us, the headphone send, and the control room send, which is a little bit weird. So I'm going to be using the main output to go to Skype. And remember that main output is not supposed to hear the Skype input. So you see I have some little arrows of who goes where. And you'll notice that the Skype input is not going to the main output. So that they don't hear themselves. You don't even want to hear that echo. For the headphone outputs, everything's going there. All the audio input sources. The headphone send is actually going out to 3 and 4. The control room send is not going to go to the headphone send. And for the control room output, like I said, I'm going to want to hear the ISO mic. I want to hear the backing track. I don't want to hear the control room mic. I don't want to hear the headphone send. And but that I am going to be hearing the track that says send to control room. And that's going to be going out hardware output 5 and 6. Obviously, output 3 and 4 is going to be the headphone send, and it's going to just go straight to the headphones in the booth. And so in this case, I'm using the RME. Got an RME DigiFace USB. It's got 4 ADAT ports. And hey, so it's got 4 ADAT ports. And I'm using the loopback function. This sucks because every time you do this, you're going to have to give up 2 channels that you could have otherwise used for something useful. So 31 and 32 go, actually, output 1 and 2, which is the main outputs from Reaper, go into 31 and 32. That's the loopback. So that means that Skype is going to be set up so that 31 and 32 are the inputs to Skype. I'm going to have Skype's outputs go to 25 and 26, which you see is also a loopback here. And not coming from anywhere, right? And so the input to Skype, from Skype to Reaper, is going to be on inputs 25 and 26. So that's how Total Mix is handling it. And if you guys don't know Total Mix, I'm just going to switch some. You know, you can, oops, let me show you like for the main outputs. So I could actually hear any of these outputs. I don't know if you see that switching, but anyway, Total Mix will let me do a lot of things. Motu has something similar. There's some other software that has similar things. I prefer the RME stuff for many reasons, but that's how this is working. So let me get to the next part of this. So I'm going to look at Reaper here and how I'm doing this. For you guys that use the routing matrix, you know, first of all, let me show you. I've used the track manager so that in the MCP, in the mixer control panel, I can see the master, I can see the headphone sends, and I can see the control room sends, so that I can get to those really quickly in case I need them. And in the MCP, I've told it to just show the headphone send and the control room send and the master. And so the other inputs are hidden. So that's going to make it a little bit handier for me over there. I have that on a second monitor. Okay, so that's the track manager in Reaper. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if you guys use the routing matrix in Reaper, you can see how I've got this set up with the inputs and outs. Well, let me show you what each one of these ones is doing. So the ISO mic, this is the one that's coming from the ISO booth. That is coming in on 19. So this is normal. Now here's the routing. It's going to the master. It's going to the headphone send, and it's going to the control room send. I'm doing this post fader, which could make a little bit of trouble, but I don't think it will. If it does, I can always change that to pre-fader if I want, or you know, even if it's post fader, I can turn up or down the volumes here to fix that. The backing track is going to the headphone send and the control room send and the master, so it's going everywhere. It's not armed because there's nothing to record on it. They're gonna send us something as far as I know. Now, if you see the record arm button looks a little bit different on this one than normal. This is the control room mic. That's me talking to you know, this is my mic from the control room so that the guys on Skype can hear and that the actor can hear, the artist can hear. And so that's coming in on 27. But if you notice, this looks weird. The arming looks weird. And the reason for that is that I have it set to record disable input monitoring only. And so this is just going to, it's going to monitor. It's going to let this mic go through, but it's not going to bother recording anything. I could record. It wouldn't hurt anything, but I have that off. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing with the Skype input from Skype. It's going to come from 25 and 26, and it's going to be recording disabled input monitoring only. And let me check out the control room mic is routed to the master, so that's going to Skype, and it's going to the headphone send. But notice it's not going to the control room output. I don't want to echo this mic. So now here's the Skype routing. notice it's not going to master, because master is where the Skype users are going to hear from. And so I don't want them echoing. But it is going to the headphone sends, and it's going to the control room send. And here's the headphone sends right here. They're not going to the masters. They're not going to any of the audio tracks. They're going to the hardware out of 3 and 4, which is going to the ISO booth. And if you look here, you can actually see all the receives. Reaper will show you both. So it's receiving from the ISO mic, from the backing track, from the control room mic, and from Skype. And then I'm going to show you the control room output, the control room send. Again, it doesn't have any, it's not sending to any of the other channels in Reaper, but it is going to the output 5 and 6, which is what I'm going to use for my control room monitoring. And this would make serious trouble if I'm doing all this and I'm broadcasting at the same time, because I would have a hard time hearing myself the way I'd normally want to do it. So like, let's say I had guests and I was broadcasting to OBS. This might not work correctly the way I'd want. Though there's probably a way to pull this off, but I can think about that later. But it is a bummer that I would probably have to give up 2 more loopback tracks. So, and that really sucks. It's ridiculous that we're still dealing with this so many years later. But as far as I can tell, this is right. So let's I'm gonna pop up Skype, and we're gonna have a look in there. Skype. And so I'm gonna set it so I can only hear what I'd hear in the control room, which is okay. So I think I have that set. So I've just switched total mix to this other mix. Sorry, hold on, give me 1 second. Hello, Kylo Music School. Yes. Here's the control room mic. It looks like it's getting to Skype. I'm gonna hit test audio and see if we hear anything from the speakers. Seems like that's working, right? And so I'm gonna use the free test call function right here, and so you see 25 and 26 for the speakers, and 31, 32. So these are loopbacks. So I'm gonna make the free test call, but if you notice, I put a click track right here, and I'm doing that so we can test and make sure that the outside talent's going to hear the backing track and not just my control room mic. Okay, so we're going to test that real quick. I'm going to hit play here, or actually, you know what? I'm gonna here I go. I'm gonna make this free test call. Let's see. Let me hear it. Okay, once the free test call starts, I'm going to start this click track, and I'm going to test the mic at the same time. We're going to find out if this works. So here comes. So there's the click. Testing the mic, testing the click. Let's see what we got here. When this stops, it should play back. Okay, so you saw there was an echo there of some sort. What was that echo? Why am I still hearing a click? I should not be hearing a click. Oh. Yeah, why in the world am I hearing a click? There's no... Why am I hearing a click? Do I have another tab open that's playing audio, or did Facebook break their their mute button? I think they did. Hey, sorry. 1 second.
Do you guys sell the instruments too?
No, that's the place down the street, Coconut Grove. Sorry.
Oh, Coconut Grove?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was also looking to see. I want to get them to learn how to play ukulele.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to go and we're going to figure out what that echo is later on. I have a feeling that Facebook's mute function is broken because there should be absolutely nothing sending right now. This is in stop. There's no click track playing, and this thing is just looping away to its heart's content here. So I have no idea. I'll see you